going to introduce myself, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. I created a PowerPoint with all the information, and then we have a lot of examples in the PowerPoint, and then I have them here to kind of show you how they work. So hopefully at the end of this, you'll kind of understand visual schedules and how to make a quick one, and you'll be able to get it going pretty quickly. So I think I know most people here that are on the call, but if you don't, I am Christy Klaus. I am the Family Support Coordinator for the Down Syndrome Association. So I primarily work with families, newborn through about 18 years old, and answer questions, get to go to do hospital visits, those kind of things, get to do this kind of fun educational stuff. So Andi and I are kind of partnering on this. So I will let her introduce herself in a minute, and then we will get started.
So I'm Andi McCormick. I know many of you. I see some of your children on all the Zoom calls. My official title is Community Inclusion Coordinator. So I mostly work with school age through adulthood. In normal times, I'm doing lots of employment and school presentations. In COVID times, I am a virtual programs coordinator. So you may have seen me on Facebook Live or on Zooms. So my job has kind of done a 360, and I spend most of my life doing this. So super fun, and I super love your children that I get to spend time with. So you know where to find me.
Andi has great experience as a former preschool teacher. So she's used to visual schedules on the school end of it. So she may have suggestions, especially for some of the parents of the younger kiddos who are just starting out with visual schedules, because we definitely have used them at school. I think it's less common to use them at home, but I think they're very successful at home, but I think schools have used them for a while. So Andi's got some great experience there with visual schedules in the preschool setting. The first thing I wanted to cover just quickly is the goals of this workshop. So hopefully at the end of our time together, you guys will understand what a visual schedule is. You'll understand why visual schedules benefit individuals with Down syndrome specifically. And then you'll also have the tools to create your own visual schedule to use at home. So what is a visual schedule? Visual schedules are picture representations of a series of events. They are great tools to help with independence, teaching skills, and improving behavior. So why use visual schedules? So there are certain things that we know about individuals with Down syndrome, that they have a relative strength in visual processing skills, that presenting information visually helps to improve your child's understanding. So pairing words with a picture. Visual schedules can be used to help prepare for and complete an upcoming activity or event, since it lists the series of steps. And they also help to establish expectations. They can help increase comprehension of the routine and decrease anxiety, primarily not knowing maybe what comes next in the routine, or behaviors related to changes in routine or completing less preferred tasks. You'll notice that I bolded that because I feel like completing less preferred tasks is at least a daily occurrence, if not more. So it does help with completing those less preferred tasks. And we'll get into some of the strategies for that as well. So the areas of strength, and there's many for individuals with Down syndrome, but I highlighted a few that are definitely beneficial with the use of visual schedules. So of course, the strong visual awareness and visual learning skills, the ability to learn from pictorial, concrete, and practical materials, and then structure and routine. You may have already noticed this with a lot of your kiddos that they like that structure and routine. So that's an area of strength. So visual schedules are going to just play to that strength. We also know that there are some challenges with learners with Down syndrome. A couple of things that visual schedules will help target will be the short-term and working memory weaknesses, a shorter concentration span, sequencing difficulties, and avoidance strategies. So definitely the visual schedules will help with this. I mean, if you're thinking about it, how they're going to have the steps in front of them, that's going to help with that short-term memory weaknesses, as well as the sequencing. And then we'll talk about the avoidance and how we're fitting in those things that they maybe don't want to do, or using those as a reward. So those are some of the reasons why that they will specifically help individuals with Down syndrome. So this is what visual schedules can do. They can break down multi-step tasks. Oh, I think we did this one already. Sorry, I think I had that one in there twice. Establishing expectations, completing less preferred tasks. Yeah, got that one in there twice. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit into the types of visual schedules, and we're going to spend a little bit of a time on each one. So the first and most common one that you've probably seen at school or heard of is an activity schedule. So these typically represent multiple parts of a single activity or events within a day. And they can be used at home to break down steps to common routines or to prepare for non-routine events. So the other type of schedule is first then displays. We're going to get into a couple of these examples as well. So these typically depict 2 or more, possibly 3 activities, with the last activity representing the reward. They can be used to break down a task into 2 or 3 parts, and they may be used to help your child complete a non-preferred activity. And it also helps them, they can see what they're earning. So how to create visual schedules. So the very first thing that you're going to have to think about for your loved one with Down syndrome, where you're creating routine, is what routine do you want to start with? If you're thinking about their day, whether it can be things that, a behavior that you want to encourage, or maybe there's a routine that's just becoming a nightmare and you want to break down the steps, or it's a stressful time of day. I would say the common ones are going to be getting ready for school or work in the morning, an after school routine, and getting ready for bedtime. So those are going to be the ones that, of course, probably don't change a lot. They may change a little bit a weekday versus a weekend, but probably don't change a lot. So these are probably great ones to start with when you're thinking about which routine you want to maybe start using a visual schedule with. If you are new to visual schedules, I would probably start with a few steps and a fairly familiar routine while your child's just kind of getting used to the idea of a visual schedule. But I will say that most kiddos just take off with it, and you'll be able to expand the amount of schedules that you'll be able to use with them. So your next step is going to be to determine your format. So we're going to show you lots of examples. So what you're going to do is think about what your child likes to do, what is their fine motor capabilities. Are they good at holding a marker? Would they prefer to pull off a picture with Velcro? Do they want to do a check mark? Do they like to line things off? If they had a marker, would it be all over the room? So maybe you want to stick with something. Is it better if they actually picked up a picture and moved it to a done area? So you want to think about which is the best format to start with your schedule. And then you want to figure out determine the best format for the display based on the goal of the task. So you can use it to do multi-step events, or to get them to do a less preferred task. We can also figure out what motivates them. Will there be an all done basket, check marks, and then if you want the pictures to be removable or not. So as we go through these examples, I think you'll probably see which ones you think would work best for your child. So determining the format. Okay, so what can you put your schedule on? There's so many things that you can use that you might even have sitting around at your house. Pocket charts are pretty common. I've got some examples of those: a clipboard, dry erase boards, binders, if you're doing multiple schedules. Really sturdy paper, manila folders are used as visual schedules, photo albums, notebooks, and then there are a few electronic apps where you can set up a schedule. So transitioning between activities, that will be something that you'll think about, what your child would like to do. Moving pictures to a done area, turning a picture around, lining through on a checklist. The containers can be envelopes, baskets, plastic bags. I put my little note in there about loving, hate dry erase markers. I don't know if you've ever had your kid like write with one and end up with their hands black and then their face is black and they have stuff on their clothes. So I love the versatility of dry erase markers, but I think there's definitely a difference in quality of dry erase markers. So if you are going to use them, I would say get a good one. I really like these DSAGSL. I don't know, they seem a little better than like some of these ones that you get, you know, that you try to actually erase with the tip here. So if your child is old enough and you feel comfortable using a marker, I would say get a decent one. Okay, pictures. So using pictures along with words is a great way to start with visual schedules. Even if your child doesn't read, it's always best to pair the words with the pictures because they will learn those words by pairing them together. So which types of photos should you use? So we usually learn in steps which start with simple and then get more abstract. So the ability to understand different levels of abstraction will vary from person to person. So you want to start with the most concrete, real visual. So for some kiddos, that might be an actual picture of what they're going to do. And here's the example. So a photograph of the actual object or action. So if the first step in their morning routine or nighttime routine is to brush their teeth, they might actually need to see the picture of the toothbrush in their bathroom. This is a picture of our bathroom. So this could be an actual photo that you could use on the start of your schedule. If they're able to transfer that knowledge or they're at the next stage, they may be able to understand what the step is from an image. So the second is an example of an image. And these are in Google Clip Art. You can find them a lot of places. But if you're not using an actual photo, you may go to a representation with Clip Art. And then the third level would be just to have the words. You don't need the pictures anymore. You just have the words of what they need to do next. So you can determine where your child is on this level and what they react best to. I know for us, Olivia just really likes to look at pictures of herself. So the ones where she's in, or that in and of itself is more motivating than a cartoon picture. So, you know, using the real photos has been good for us, but you might know what motivates your child in terms of what type of photo to use. So if you are going to take the pictures yourself, these are just a couple of tips that I found, and I tried these. I created some pictures a couple of weeks ago, but if you're using your phone, of course, hold it vertically, keep it simple, not a lot of other things in the background, high contrast background when taking the photo, try to take it from the child's perspective, and then use words along with it, whether you dropping it into a document or you're actually editing the photo to add the words to make sure that the words go along with the step. So you can add words directly to your photos. iPhones, you can just go to your photos and you're able to edit it actually within your Photos app, or Pic Collage is also a great one. You can use a grid option. I don't think I have a picture of this, but you can actually just add words to the pictures and print them out like this. So I use the Pic Collage grid option to get 2-inch pictures if you were going to try to use your own pictures to create the schedule. And I've got examples of this too. There's also, and I'm going to send all these resources to you for when you decide on your pictures. There's free clip art, free picture cards, and then there's a few websites where you can, if you want to pay for ones that are already made, you can go there to get pictures as well. So that's just thinking about what you want the picture of and what should be the format of the picture. So there are a couple of programs where you can make your display, which is just what you're gonna like put it on. Most of the ones that I have seen have just been in Microsoft Word, just using like a spreadsheet or the tables feature. So you just have columns so that you can put a picture in one column and the check box in the other. There are a few other ones if you are really getting into it and want to make a lot or have a lot of pictures in there and manipulate a lot of schedules, lesson picks. So we, the DSA had a subscription to that. I don't think we've renewed ours yet, but we were able to create a variety of different visual schedules with their subscription website, and it was $36 a year. So if it's something that you feel like you want to kind of dig deep into and make a variety of schedules, you could go with something like Lesson Picks, which has all the pictures there already. I wanted to throw this in, these reminder strips. I think these are amazing. And I'm going to send you copies of these 3 common sequences, because you may create a morning routine or an evening routine that says, you know, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth and wash your hands, but your child might either not always remember those steps or needs to learn those steps. So while it's on their schedule, they may still need reminders at the point of where that takes place. And reminder strips are awesome for this. So they're shorter strips, usually horizontally, that help you remind someone to do things in a particular sequence. So they can be anything the individual seems unable to remember without a visual cue, or just doesn't feel like remembering. I have to say, it's not always unable. So many times I'm in the hallway going, did you wash your hands? I didn't hear the sink go on. So maybe not unable to, but just deciding to take a shortcut. So anyway, it's a good cue. So for example, you could put the toothbrushing one right above the sink, or the toilet sequence next to the toilet. So I have all of these. So I'm going to email these to you. So if this is something you want to print off, laminate, put wherever in your bathroom, if you're using these kind of sequences, I have these for you. I think these are amazing. And I have a picture on here. There we go. So there's an example. So they just have it right above the sink in this picture. And then they, I love that mounting putty. I don't know if you guys use that to hang anything, but you know, in our house, the hall bath is the guest bath. That's Olivia's bathroom, and that's anybody else. Well, not right now because nobody's coming over, but sometime in the future. So if I want to take it down, you know, I can, and mounting putty is just really easy to move things around. So I love mounting putty, but there's an example of where it would go, the reminder strip. Okay, so we're just going to go through a couple of these examples. I have some of these here that I can show you how they work. So I did a variety of schedules thinking about, do people have access to a printer? Maybe yes, maybe no. Do people, would they prefer to use something larger? Like these are index cards in this one that have the words next to them. So there's a wide variety. So you don't have to have a printer. For all these routines, if you do, there are some great ones you can make with a computer and printer, but you don't need that. So this simple example is just a pocket chart that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I just did the pictures. I actually took pictures, went around the house and took the pictures of the steps, and then printed those pictures at Walgreens and then stuck them on the index cards. So what you can do is decide on so you can actually, we have the evening routine is written on the back of that top one. You can put them in the order you want. You can turn them around when they're done. You could have a little basket to put the done ones in, or a bag, or you could store them in the bottom row. This would be a really simple one that you could move around. And they're a little bit larger, thinking about fine motor skills, especially for some of the younger kids that might be trying the visual schedules. So these are index card size, if it's hard to tell from here. So this one is the same thing with pictures, only it's just on a clipboard. So they are Velcroed on. If you think that your child would like to pull something off when they do their routine, as you can see, they're pictures where I just added the words to them. So I don't know about your kiddos, but first thing in the morning, we got to take that thyroid medicine on an empty stomach. So That's always the first thing on Olivia's morning routine. And then you can see the rest of the steps there. And so, you know, most of the time it's the same, but this format does allow for some changes. And I will say on some of these routines, once they really get into the routine, they will commit it to their memory. You might still have to get it out every once in a while because, I don't know, it'll get hard to remember, or they won't want to do it and you don't want to, you'll just get it out again. So, but they will remember how to do these things, and it may come to a point where that they need to do everything on the list. So in this particular one, my last one there is time for Zoom. So she did not have to walk out the door to catch the bus. But previously there's been times where the bus is there and Olivia is making her bed because she had to finish her checklist. And I was waving at the bus driver saying, hold on. She's making her bed. I'm sure they probably thought like, crazy mom making her make her bed before she leaves, but it wasn't me, it was her. She wanted to finish her checklist. So know that that routine can get really, really embedded in their activities as well. Here's an example of a quick one you can make with a dry erase board. Once again, I got it from the Dollar Tree. Took pictures. They have little Velcro squares at Dollar Tree. You could start with a very simple one, and then you could move to the next, just slide them over to the next row when they were complete. You could keep them, you could just wipe that off and do a morning routine with the same one and keep the little squares just nearby and set up the routine for bedtime and for morning if you were doing another routine, or you can just get another dry erase board for the other routine. Once again, you can move them to the side, you can put them in a bag, you can put them in a little basket, something like that. Or if you're okay with it, they can check off. And we have a couple check mark ones too. So this is a large pocket chart. This was on Amazon. So that you can see from looking at this is more, this one I think has seven steps. This one has 7 steps. So these are also the small pictures that we talked about earlier. Once again, that allows you to change routines if needed. When done, you could add them to the bottom row, turn them around, flip that around and do the evening routine. So I just took a bunch of pictures and printed them in the 2-inch squares that we talked about, so that you could do a variety of routines. We used this one for a while. Liv was really into the Velcro, so she liked moving those little check marks. So we actually had the time on this one. We were working on time at that time, so she could move the check mark over when she completed that task. So there's something for a lot of individuals about that. I think someone even said it about wanting to check it off and get it done and go to the next one. That is very satisfying, including for Olivia and a lot of people with Down syndrome that want to move to that next one and want to see what's next and know that that one is done. Binders. I know sometimes these are used at school, and I think this was Olivia's that she used at school when she was in elementary school. But this works really well if you want to store all of your little pictures that you make inside the binder. So you can have the schedule on the front of the binder with 2 rows like this. And then on the inside is where you can store all your other pictures when they're not in use. And you can put the schedule for that day on the front of the binder. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory there. I think this one was handy for a few years as well, especially when things were changing a lot or we were using multiple schedules during the day. We found this one helpful. Don't get the binder from Dollar Tree though. Oh, I wrote that on there. It was wasn't even worth $1. So if you're gonna use the binder one, spend a little more money on your binder. Picture checklist with boxes. We used this one for a couple of years. You can, so these schedules will need to be laminated if you want to, you know, especially if you're going to use a dry erase board, or if you want them to last more than, you know, a week. So you can buy a box of just laminating sheets if you don't want to buy a machine. It comes in a box for like an 8.5 by 11 page, and it will laminate it without a machine. Self-laminating, I think they call them. I know Target has them. Or you can buy a laminate and actually
That one's smacked.
run it through there.
It's not nice.
Okay. So, and this one, of course, dry erase markers, Target, Walmart, Amazon. I used Word, Microsoft Word, to create this. I put check boxes because check boxes were very motivating for Olivia, and I put her morning routine. And on this one, again, we put what time her school day started, and it has lots of steps. So we were able to add in more steps for her routine. And this could be wiped off each morning, and then the evening routine was actually on the back of this one. This is probably our most recent one. It's similar, only that instead of laminating, it's a pocket sleeve. If you haven't found pocket sleeves yet, they are amazing. Because if you're going to do any kind of worksheet or printing or anything, once again, you have to use the dry erase marker, but you just slide it in. So they have these on Amazon in 5 or 6 packs. So they're really awesome for worksheets, but I also found that you can just stick a schedule in it too. Once again, if you don't have laminating sheets or a laminator, you can use these pockets, and it's really easy to pull one out if you need to print one or make changes to it. These pocket protector things are awesome. I still get this one out. It needs a little updating now that we're back at school, second week back at school, but a lot of the things look different here. There's no more lunch. Everything's crazy this year. But as time goes by, you can see like on these, like I just kept adding things. I would add, wasn't even a linear row anymore. I'm like, oh yeah, let's throw the medicine in there. And oh yeah, does she want to buy lunch or bring lunch? You know, I just kept adding things onto the list, and they were just really became more like a visual reminder, like what comes next. They're also ready-made print and use. So let's just say you want to go on there, you want to try one tomorrow morning. If you go onto Google and you search visual schedules, or you look on Pinterest, there are some out there. Of course, may not have your child's name on it. Hopefully I think this is a pretty good one, a pretty average nighttime routine. But if you just want to try one and see kind of how it goes before you invest some time into taking pictures and making one, there are, I found several, so you could see what matches up with your routine at home. So you can grab one of those and try it and see how it goes. You can stick it in one of those pockets, or if you have a laminator, you could go ahead and laminate the schedule and start using it. So ready to print and use. They're also out on Amazon, lots of kits. So if you just do not want to deal with taking these pictures and cutting them apart and adding in Velcro, the whole thing, you're like, I don't have time for that. There are kits that have routines. They won't be of the picture, they'll be the representation. So, but if you search on Amazon or Google for kids routine charts for home, you can also search for autism visual schedule home. Since autism is much more common than Down syndrome, there has been a whole slew of things created for the autism community that work very well for the Down syndrome community, especially when it comes to things like visual schedules. So if you throw that in there in your search bar, you will come up with lots of different kits that you can buy that are ready-made, that come with many little pictures already ready to go. So I just put a couple of examples out here so you can see what those look like. So you wouldn't even have to create your own pictures or search for pictures on Google Images, whatever. You've just got a set here to go to. So here's examples of a ready-made kit. Okay, the first then. So I know we talked a little bit about this earlier. I think these are great for something to use in the beginning. The one thing that's different about the first then, it's It's effective when activity 2, the then, is a more preferred activity. So you're going to use this like if your child hates to brush their teeth. First brush your teeth, then story time. First take your medicine, then play blocks. So you're kind of using this to behaviorally to incentivize your child with the then. So it's meant to be that way. So it's important that activity 2 start right after activity 1 is finished, or your child will not understand that relationship between finishing activity 1 allows them to do activity 2. The then activity should not happen until the first one is completed. The tool is not a two-step activity schedule. It's more of a motivational tool to build behavioral momentum through less preferred activities. So if you're going to start with first thens, if there's something that your child doesn't like to do, pair it with something that you know that they do like to do. They're not great on going potty. You can do first go potty, then sing songs, get dressed, then iPad. So when you're thinking about that second thing, that's the reward part. I would also say one little note here about the then is you want to make sure that the then part of it isn't available to the child all the time. If you guys sing songs all day long, it's not going to matter if they go potty, because they're going to learn that you're going to sing songs no matter what, or they're going to get the iPad no matter what. So if you're using this in the behavioral sense, you just want to make sure that they don't have like complete access to the other to the things on the list. So does that make sense? The first then? It's also it dives in a little bit into behavior strategies, like beginning behavior strategies. We still use first then, if there's something that I need done first, you got to empty the dishwasher, then, whatever it is. So we're always pairing and doing a first then, mainly because it just gets things done with less of an argument because there's an incentive there to get the second thing. Here's an example if you were trying it with a pocket chart. So like that one I got at the dollar store. So first go potty, then iPad time. You could switch those up depending on what you were working on during the day for the first and then. So where to put your schedule. So highly visible, easily accessible, near where most of the steps happen, hanging on the wall or the door. You can use those removable hooks. I know for us, we put it on the dresser or the nightstand in Olivia's room for the morning and the evening routine. That was the easiest place to put it. Sometimes the steps are best hanging on the refrigerator or on the kitchen counter if it's like a after school routine, something like that. So just figure out where is a good spot to put the schedule. If it has a lot of little parts and you think they might be more excited to pull them off and throw them across the room, they probably don't want it to have it in their room. So maybe you want to help them as they get used to it with their schedule, and you'll be able to help them move on to the next step. So think about where you want to put your schedule. Here is some other examples, and I will send these links to you so that you can see other examples. Do to Learn, I love Do to Learn. The whole website is amazing, but their visual schedule chunk of their website has lots and lots of great examples and lots of free picture cards that you can download. But I will send you these so you can just click on the links. I'll be sending those out this week. So we'll see if we have any questions, and then I have some examples of the actual schedules that I created here. So if anybody wants to brainstorm or wants to see something in action, we can go through those as well. So is there any schedule that anybody wants to kind of see? So I did, I know the pictures are probably hard to see. So here, let me do this. Let me go. Can I just put just this up here, Andy?
Yeah, here, I can spotlight you.
Yeah, I'll just show a couple of examples. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, the binder. So like we talked about, Velcro on the front, the routine, pull them off, Velcroed on here, basket, or move to the other side. You're doing a lot of routines. All this is in here is just more paper that's laminated with more Velcro. So you can keep your other ones stored in here and then always have your routine on the front here. So this is an example of what a binder one would look like if you think you might make a lot, and it's good for storage. I did one with magnets for fun, and then I thought, you know, the fine motor skills, Olivia could do it. She kind of did, she slid them, but I used the magnetic strips. I also found those at the dollar store. I did pictures with magnets on the back, and then, but you could also stick this on the fridge, and then just put a bag in the bottom for when they were done. So very easy, simple thing that you can do with a clipboard. Here's a first then that's in the pocket. So I have this first then to send you guys to. I actually just put Velcro on the front of it so you could move it around. So once again, maybe a less desired activity, shower or bath. That's not at our house, but you could put a less desired activity there. iPad, however, is a highly desired activity. So first then. So there's some examples about what that would look like. So once this is completed, and that's the language you would use. First, you take your bath, then you can have the iPad. So two-step, simple, usually unpreferred to preferred activity. This is about how big the one from the Dollar Tree is. I thought for $1 it was a pretty nice pocket one. And these are just index cards in here. So you could actually even put whole pictures if you wanted to put words, or even like put a label on it if you wanted to make the pictures bigger. So I think this would be an option for a very easy movable, spend probably just a little bit of time to create. And then the cards could be stored in the bottom or moved around in different orders, or flipped around to do like an evening routine instead. So once again, the small pictures are kind of nice, but you probably could use a full-size picture as well.
Christy, I have one question. Do you mind?
Yeah.
So with that, do you ever find that Olivia, the older that she got, do you feel like she still benefited from having things in sequence? Like for that example, I thought about the pocket chart, how you could change the order.
Mm-hmm.
Did you typically want a say in the order in which she did it, or was it better for her if it stuck with like the same sequence every day?
It was better for her to do the same sequence. Occasionally we had to change it or add something in, so that's what was nice. But pretty much everything stayed in the same sequence. Okay. Yeah, that seems like that's a little easier. Andi, you want to weigh in on that?
I do think that keeping a sequence can be really important, but I also think it's really important to switch it around, because we know that our kiddos can get locked in, and if we brush our teeth after breakfast and then one day we're eating at grandma's, so we need to brush our teeth before we leave, the whole world could end. So I do think it's important to sometimes keep some flexibility, you know, and I think that we get locked into every same, then we have the same and the world crashes when it's different.
Andi, I have to agree with you on that, because my son this week at school, he had a sub. Yeah. And he really depends on the aide that he's with, and his aide wasn't there. And when she's not there, he totally changes. It's always him, you know, he depends on her so much that when somebody else comes, the whole world just blows up. So it's kind of like, you know, the routine, I mean, it's good to switch things up, because, I mean, if you don't, then when you got somebody else stepping in to help, it's a disaster. You know, I mean,
I totally agree with it there. I think for us, just the morning routine just doesn't really change much.
Yeah.
The things that changed were when she started to buy her lunch, or when she rode the bus, but like the morning routine is pretty much always this in this order. There's been no reason for changing the order. This routine just happens to be a pretty static routine for us here. So I don't change this on purpose for her ever. This is just her morning routine. Now, if there was something else, so one thing as Olivia got older, because things changed, we did start adding in like a calendar. So, and I think what that helped was to look into things that changed, not within the routine, but within like the week. So this has just been probably maybe 2 years that we have used a calendar, and I love a week at a time. So, and one of the main reasons I got a week at a time, I think that was about enough information that Olivia wanted to see at a time. And honestly, I got tired of her saying, what are we doing on Thursday? What are we doing this weekend? Or when is this? So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to write it down. And we keep this on the kitchen counter. So I circled that this is these are things that she's involved with. So I also have recently been putting these on her phone in her schedule so that it pops up. So I'm trying to get her used to getting ready. But I think this is where she sees, like, there's where she gets her what's coming next. If something's different, like if she, doesn't have dance on Monday and there's something else there, it helps her to prepare for it. So there might be a change on a Monday, or there might be something different than on a Friday morning, but she actually sees it written down coming up on her calendar. So this has been just really helpful for us to have this calendar by the week.
Something that I used a lot in my classroom, and that I think is helpful too, if you have a non-reader or a younger child, we used an oops part of our schedule. I always had an oops available. So if Monday is dance and we're not doing dance because it's Thanksgiving week and dance is canceled, you can put a oops. You go, oh, you know what? Today would be dance, but oops, it's no dance this week. So having that oops to kind of train that sometimes things are different, or oops, it's a field trip day, or oops, we ran out of toothpaste, or oops, we have a new brand of bubble bath, whatever it is.
Oh, I like
having an oops is a great way to kind of talk about a change in the routine or a change in the schedule, because sometimes things are a little different. Tonight we don't have time to take a bath before bed, or we ran out of story time. Oops, you can throw that in there as kind of around that. And it's a great way to teach that flexibility and know that it's not always the same. Mm-hmm. It's okay. So I liked having an oops. Emily?
This 2020 has been an oops.
Yes. I just wanted to say that we tend to use our visual schedule. I'm on here because I really want to integrate it more, but we tend to use it for open-ended times, like chunks or days. Ian has a respite worker that comes in on Thursdays, and so they'll plan the whole morning together. Mm-hmm. And she'll put like, oh, hey, you get to watch a show at this time. What are the activities you want to put in between there? And so that is how we use it. And it's way more than just a routine, because then he's planning his day. And so today he actually dumped out all his visual schedule cards on the floor, and he came and brought me video. He was like, I want to, and so it was the little like play symbol, which I wouldn't have ever thought that he understood the symbol more than, like a picture of him looking at the TV. But he totally got it. He knew exactly what he wanted, and brought that to me. So it's good to use for more than just routines. It's very open-ended. And then I also wanted to say that I can see a difference with him with the orientation of the schedule. It will be harder for him to do an up and down schedule. So for him, time moves laterally. So in our house, we have an old colonial home. So we have plate racks on or chair rails on the walls. So I actually cut a piece of molding, like a finished molding at Lowe's, and I just put a strip of Velcro down it. And so we can just stick it all on there, and then he can pull it off. So, but I just want to encourage too, so many of these things, Ian's my 5th child, but so many of these things with my 1st child or my 2nd child, I would have felt like I had to do all the pictures perfect and get it all done and then have it all absolutely done. And then I could implement. And don't just start implementing. And then I wanted to say that I've never had a laminator, and I just use packing tape.
Mhm.
Packing tape works amazingly well as a laminator most of the time. You just stick it on. So
I did try that with a few of the pictures, just to cover the small pictures and with a little, and that worked for the pictures. I don't know, I've never tried to cover a whole sheet of paper, but it did work for the little pictures.
yep.
And we did
but
that as
if you do
well.
page protectors work just fine.
Yeah, page protectors. Yep.
You definitely don't have to laminate. You can be as creative as possible. If you do want one, Target has one for about $20. So depending on how much you think you're going to use these and how rough your kiddo is, sometimes for me, it was worth the investment, but I was using it for my classroom and now I use it for my job now, but it was worth the $20, but it may not be for you. And I do think packing tape is a great solution.
I just,
If you do buy one, you'll find things around your house that you need to laminate that you didn't know you needed to laminate. Kind of like my label maker. There are all these new things at my house I didn't know I needed to make a label for. But we also, during the pandemic, we had all this time at home, and we just were using the nighttime routine and the morning routine. But we got out a notebook after I went through the acceptance phase of, I'm going to have to deal with this and she's not going to go back to school and I need to figure this out. We did exactly what you did, but we just wrote it on a notebook page, morning, and I left blanks for weird things that would come up. It was take medicine, and it was, take a walk around the subdivision, and, language arts time and whatever. But we actually had a list, and she would go and run and check it. And I would throw things on there like, do your laundry, and it worked. If it was on the list, she wanted to check it off. So she would take her laundry downstairs. So the checklist was really, really helpful for those big blocks of open time when the days got kind of long. Does anybody else have any questions as far as when they're thinking about what your schedule might look like, or what routine you might try to use? Eunice? Yep. Can you unmute? I can't unmute you. Some people I can unmute, and some people have to do it themselves.
I'll send her a ask to unmute.
Yeah, I think she heard me.
Okay, I did.
Okay, there she is.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. Yeah. My question is on my dilemma right now is where to put this visual schedule for Alexander, because he moves around in the mornings in our morning routine between the bathroom, his bedroom, and the kitchen. So it's next to each other, these three places. Is the kitchen, the next door is his bedroom, and in front of his bedroom is the bathroom. It's just that I'm just thinking, where is the best? I don't want it in his bedroom because he gets distracted playing, reading books, or doing whatever, but not dressing, not getting ready to go to school. So it's like, that's the hard part for me right now, in where will be the best place for him to have it, so he's willing to follow it, because right now I am dealing a lot with behavior issues. If it's not his idea, he's not doing it, or he doesn't want to do it. So I think pictures of himself, it's a great idea. It's just right now for me is where to put it.
Eunice, when
Yes.
I did this, so I have 5 children. They're all 2 years apart. So at one point I was doing morning routines with other children. My Downs kid is my 5th child. So one of the things that I did at one point was do a piece of cardstock on a ribbon, and I actually put it upside down and it hung around their neck. So in the morning they got up, they took it off their doorknob and they put it around their neck, and then they could pick it up and look at it and know this is the next thing I need to do. And so if he's going to be running around all over the house, having that and being able to put it down, pull it up, And maybe even, you know, on that one, you just have an envelope on the back where you just text it in, or Velcro on the back. Hey, I'm done with this. But it's a possibility. I was just thinking of that time in my life when they had a clothespin, and they would take the clothespin and move the clothespin down to the next thing.
I was thinking maybe
And I might have
on his door, maybe on the room too.
Oh yeah, you could totally do a door handle.
Or command hook in the hallway between the bathroom and the bedroom, or and one other thing that you said, Eunice, that struck me was, you know, a lot of behavior issues. The one thing nice with the visual schedule is it takes the power struggle away, because it's no longer you saying what you have to do, it's the schedule. So, you know, for me, I would just, if you're not one to put your shoes on, I can just point to that picture. It's not mom saying it, your schedule says you have to do it. So it does take some of that power struggle away, which is one of the best parts of a visual schedule, I feel like.
I totally agree. There's times where you can just say, okay, what's next? Instead of this, you know, constant like, okay, go, get your coat. What's next?
So,
You know?
yes, I am thinking maybe the hall will be a good idea to put the pictures, because in the hall I can see him from the kitchen where I am preparing the lunches and doing my stuff. So I can see him from the kitchen on that little hallway that we have. So yeah, thank you very much. I think I answered my question.
Yeah, and those command hooks, amazing as well. And you could also put like, you know, any routines at 7, if he's, you know, you could use those reminder strips in the bathroom, you know, in a couple spots, if he's having trouble remembering once he gets to the bathroom, what the steps are, you know, for brushing his teeth, or you could use those reminder strips in there as well to kind of keep him on task.
Let's say the first thing in the morning that he needs to do is go to the bathroom and take out his diaper. He's 7 years old, but sometimes he needs a diaper at night. Mm-hmm. So I need him to take it out by himself, and he's able to do that, but he doesn't want to. So I think this will be great. Just I need this is an awesome ideas for me just to try with him.
Good. Yeah, that's not, as you know, that's not uncommon for overnight. Even potty trained at 7 yet, it's not uncommon, not potty trained yet at 7, but definitely not overnight. That's not uncommon. He'll get there.
Thank you.
Other questions, or anybody want to brainstorm any ideas for a schedule?
I was just going to ask, a lot of good ideas and a lot of great information. Very similar to Eunice. In the morning, my son really doesn't like the non-preferred. So right now we're trying to work on him undressing himself, and with a lot of prompting and a lot of patience, we're getting there, you know, but so just, I'm wondering if the support of some visuals will just help, because it will, like you said, take the power struggle away. You know, he's very structured, routines really help him. But I'm just trying to think, you just mentioned something. So like part of it is getting him into the bathroom too, because we're trying to also potty train and do that in the mornings. And so I'm just trying to think, usually he'll like run around the house, and like he's very resistant to even getting to the bathroom. So you had said like in the bathroom, you know, so it's like, okay, take off your diaper, or, you know, undress, take off your diaper, sit on the potty, go potty. I'm almost wondering if I would be better to break it up. So it's not all the morning routine, but it's literally like those 3 steps. You know what I mean? When we make it to the bathroom, these are the 3 things we have to do.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. And I don't know. I'm trying. Sometimes I think I overcomplicate things, because we use first then a lot, but it's almost like first you finish your entire morning routine and then you get Cheerios. And I think it's too much. You know what I mean? So it's not like, it's like first we get ready, but like I just mentioned, you know, it's several things.
Jessica, if you wanted to do things like first take off your shirt, then you get a Cheerio. You know, keep your little baggie of Cheerios and take off your shirt. Oh, here's a Cheerio. Yay. Yeah. Okay, now take off your pants. Oh, yay, here's a Cheerio.
Okay, you know, I like that.
And so you can start with those baby steps and reward with something. If Cheerios are motivating, I mean, what's a handful of Cheerios in the morning? Fiber, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then you can stretch it. Oh, shirt and pants. Oh, now a Cheerio. Shirt, pants, and potty. Now a Cheerio. You can extend those rewards, but if you
Okay.
start with immediate feedback,
Reward.
one tiny thing, and then you get something.
Okay.
It might be worth trying. If Cheerios are what he would be working towards, start giving those sooner. You know, it
Okay.
may not be Cheerios and milk with the spoon, but a Cheerio.
Sure. I love
I
that
like
idea.
sometimes using Smarties, a Smartie. You know, the whole tube's only 10 calories, so you can dole those out. They're basically 1 calorie, a little Smarties. So
I
Don't
love
you think, Andy, too, songs are a good way for routines? Like, you know, whether you make them up or you find one, or, you know, you about getting dressed and taking off your clothes. I don't know. I feel like music is such a big part that
Oh, yeah.
anything that had steps in a song would be super helpful.
Would I just Google it and look and see if I could find something on YouTube? I bet it exists. I mean, I make my own songs up, but the problem is they're not consistent enough where you would know. I mean, I just
I think
no,
if you
no mommy, no sing.
pick a tune, pick a familiar tune. So like immediately, I think, you know, when you're saying he's got to take off his shirt, you know, this is the way we take off our shirt, take off our shirt, take off our shirt. So every day you sing it the same. So if you pick a familiar tune, you know, whatever it is,
Yeah.
take off your shirt real fast. You know,
Love it.
whatever it is, pick a tune and stick with it.
Okay.
So then that's your song for that specific task. I'm sure you could go online and find some, but I think sometimes simple is better. Just pick a tune and stick with it. Even the words don't necessarily matter as much as the tune.
Okay. Awesome. And
Sometimes
I'm also
we had used beat the timer. I don't know if he does timers yet, but boy, it worked for a while. So if he's got to take off his clothes and you had a timer, how fast can you take off your clothes? Can you get them done before I count to 10? Oh my, I can't believe how many times that worked.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know, was the competitive part or, you know, the counting to 10, but that was one of the many strategies.
Okay, sounds good. And then with we're also working on a CPAP machine and him keeping his mask on because he'll take it off in the middle of the night. Do you think it's too delayed to give a reinforcer? This is something kind of outside of visual schedules particularly. Do you think it's too, like tonight he works for mini marshmallows when he goes potty. Do you think it's too, like tonight I just was out on a whim and I said, if you keep your mask on all night, you'll get a marshmallow. And I mean, he repeated it 3 times before he was going to bed, but I'm just wondering if it's, I don't know, if he'll still remember it in the morning or in the middle of the night when he tries to rip it off.
I don't think it hurts to try.
Okay.
You know, it really, I think, depends on the child and how motivating that reward is.
Yeah, he does love food. So,
Me too.
all right. Thank you guys for all your help.
Also, like for things like that, I think taking pictures of him with it on and laying in his bed, or even a video if he likes to look at videos. If you make a short video on your phone, or if he has access to an iPad, and you know, it's just a reminder before bed. Oh, look, here's you with your CPAP on. This helps you breathe. You know, whatever short words with him in the photos that are showing him, you know, the right way to do it, and in a visual story.
I love the idea of having this pictures of him because we've embedded other, you know, pictures and books of masks in the CPAP, but like not with putting him
With it on. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else have any questions?
I don't have a question, but we need a cheering. Scarlett just went poopy on the potty. That's a big deal.
One less poopy diaper is something.
Way to go, Scarlett!
That is amazing. Oh my goodness.
That is awesome. So she just turned 3. Wait.
What? Oh
She turned 3 in August, and we've been working on it since she was about 2.5.
Impressive.
That's really awesome.
Good job. That deserves a prize for sure. So I'm going to send out all those examples, the ones where you can print and put them in the bathroom with the steps, the ready to print, the websites, the examples that have, how to make the exact one. I'm going to send all those out. But if you have questions specifically, you can email me or email Andi. If you want to brainstorm a particular troublesome spot you're having or how to come up with the right steps, we'd be happy to talk with you through that or help you figure out maybe what type of schedule to use. So I would say they're really good. We have used them most of the time since Olivia was little with some regularity, and it's so much better when I get the schedule back out. I even have gotten it out recently because she just went back to school last week, and in 8 months, we just need a little refresher of what the morning routine is. So darn it, I'm getting it back out again just because I don't want to be the one standing in the hallway going, hey, can you get your jacket? Can you get your shoes? The bus is going to be here. So much easier just to say, hey, check out your list or check out your routine. So I'm thinking that that's just going to be part of our life. We're just morphing into phone and paper, but like for everybody, it's just going to be part of her life just to make it easier.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. And if you have any questions or concerns, shoot us an email and look for the email from Christy with all the handouts and examples and pictures and all that jazz.
And let us know, please let us know if you try one and you're getting good results. Let us know. We'd love to hear.